What was the most worshipped substance in ancient Egypt? Gold? Wine? Sex? A flower? A flower that got entire cities drunk. A flower that symbolized godhood, erection, and eternal life. A flower that scientists still cannot fully explain. Hi, I'm Tatiana Voloshin. I'm a career coach, a floral witch, and a founder of Unidelics. And this is BrainFuel, Episode 7, The Plant That Seduced a Civilization. Today we're diving into Blue Lotus, not a supplement, not a trend, but a sacred intoxicant that shaped gods, orgies, and sleep for over 3,000 years. We begin at the Nile, where every morning this flower rose with the sun, and every night it sank into the underworld. To the ancient Egyptians, that wasn't just a plant, it was a clockwork of the cosmos. They believed the blue lotus gave birth to the sun itself. In one of the Egypt's oldest creation myths, the world began in total darkness, submerged in watery chaos. And then, floating on the surface, came a single blue lotus. From its bloom emerged Ra, the sun god. He blinked the world into existence. Light, life, law, all came from a flower. This wasn't symbolic in theory, it was embedded in ritual. Blue lotus was laid on altars, burnt in temples, pressed into the hands of the dead. It was found woven into burial garlands in the tomb of Tutankhamun, his mummified body literally covered in lotus petals. A final offering, a fragrant roadmap to resurrection. So, was this just metaphor? Or did Egypt figure it out first that microdosing wasn't a trend? It was a portal. But if the lotus could open the gates of the afterlife, what else could it unlock? Not just the heavens, but the senses. Not just the soul, but your skin. The same flower that guided the dead to Ra also turned banquets into ecstasy rituals. Forget champagne, the drink of choice at Egyptian banquets. Wine infused with blue lotus, the MDMA of the Nile. It wasn't just a high, it was a glow, a warm euphoric rush that softened the body, blurred the edges, and made everyone just melt. This flower didn't stay at the temple, it slipped into the bedroom. Blue lotus was both party drug and bedroom enhancer, served at royal feasts, sacred rituals, and everything in between. It was soaked in wine, burned as incense, inhaled in steam, and yes, used as a ritual orgy lubricant, a sacrament of surrender. Pleasure was sacred, and Blue Lotus was the invitation. Its divine healer was Hathor, goddess of love, music, and sacred intoxication. See, Blue Lotus is an aphrodisiac and a relaxant in one. She opened hearts, she opened legs, she opened the spirit. Every sip of lotus wine was a hymn to her body. Every breath of incense a prayer to pleasure itself. And we will see just how powerfully that same lotus-infused desire still echoes in our time, right at the end of this episode. But for a long time, the flower vanished. Blue lotus, once pressed into the hands of kings, was forgotten. And then came the 19th century. Napoleon marched into Egypt. European archaeologists followed, and suddenly the West became obsessed. Pyramids, mummies, scarabs, sarcophagi. Egyptomania hit like a fever. And there it was, petals tucked into tombs, painted on the walls of the dead, pressed into perfume jars. The blue lotus was back. Fast forward a century, and the flower bloomed again. But this time in a different form. Vapes, oils, teas, tinctures. But the blue lotus we know today isn't exactly what the pharaohs used. The stuff online, it's not always the real thing. The blue lotus of ancient Egypt, Nymphe caerulea, had been confused, swapped, and watered down. And what most people are buying today might be something else entirely. The blue lotus of pharaohs was laced with alkaloids like apomorphine and nuciferin. Modern quote-unquote Blue Lotus products are frequently made from Nymphaea nuchali or Nymphaea stellata, close relatives sure, but chemically different. They might look very similar, but they don't carry the same pharmacological punch. Why? Because the real Caerulea is rare, harder to cultivate, harder to preserve, and quite difficult to find. And I can tell you from experience, it's not just rare in theory. Even though I'm deeply plugged into the psychedelic and psychoactive world, it still took me several phone calls and a few shady dead ends just to track down the real thing. I'll be honest, when I first tried Blue Lotus, I didn't expect much. A tea, some petals, maybe a placebo. But 20 minutes in, my entire body exhaled. It wasn't trippy, it was truthful. Like something ancient had settled into my nervous system and said, you can stop performing now. So when I finally got my hands on the real thing, I knew I had to work with it. But I didn't just jump in. I spent another year researching, testing, playing, tea, tincture, tequila, incense. I wanted to understand not just the flower's past, but how it speaks to our nervous systems today. And here's what I found. Blue Lotus is not loud. It doesn't overwhelm or hijack, it softens. Today we use it as a relaxant, an anti-anxiety ally, a sleep whisperer, and yes, a libido filter. It doesn't push your buttons. It melts you back into yourself. It makes space for pleasure, for presence, for sleep that actually feels like sleep. But the first thing that really stunned me was what happened when I combined it with Amanita. Just one night and boom, I dropped straight back into lucid dreaming, like my subconscious had been waiting for the door to open. And Blue Lotus opened it. That's when it clicked. Blue Lotus was never meant to sharpen your edge. It was meant to soften your grip. This is a plant best taken not for productivity, but for surrender. And the irony? What once guided priests to the gods is now helping high-functioning bankers unclench after 14-hour days. Same flower, different prayers. I'm not going to bore you with the steeping times and gram measurements here, but if you want to actually try it, the full how-to is on the site. Our Amanita guide includes a full chapter on Blue Lotus, how to brew it as tea, how to pair it with rose, and yes, how to infuse it into alcohol without wrecking the effects. And for those of you already Googling Blue Lotus tequila, don't worry, it is legal in most of the US except Louisiana, of all places. It's not FDA approved, but neither is common sense. It won't show up on drug tests, which is why my high-functioning clients can unwind with it without setting off any corporate alarms. So yes, culturally legal, but spiritually, this stuff is loaded. You're not just sipping a flower, you're tasting a worldview. This isn't just a wellness trend. This is the residue of a civilization that knew pleasure wasn't shameful, that ritual could be sensual, that joy was divine. And maybe that's what we forgot. Or maybe we didn't forget at all. Here's a voice message a client let me share with you.
So I first tried Blue Lotus as a tea, just steep the petals like you said, and whoa, slept like a goddess. No tossing, no monkey mind, just bliss. Then I decided to try it in tequila. I don't really drink, but why not? Well, I'm 51, and let's just say my libido's been a little on vacation lately. But 2 margaritas in, and my date turned into one of the wildest nights I've had in years. Like, what even happened? I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. So I wanted to see if you can share any Blue Lotus wine recipes. Lucid dreaming sounds yummy, and I definitely want to try that. This flower is magic, baby. Thank you so much.
I absolutely love those feedbacks. And if you're curious to try it yourself, head to unidelix.com and see if Blue Lotus is in stock. If not, leave your email. This stuff is hard to get, and I'm expecting the next batch end of August. It won't be a big one, so if you want it, get online. This was Unidelix, and this was the final BrainFuel episode of the summer. We're taking a 1-month break, and we'll be back in September. Same sharp edge, same functional fungi, and amazing herbs and flowers, new surprises. Our Body Reset series is also pausing for now, but Culture Clinic keeps going every Wednesday all through August. So stay close, stay curious, and drop in midweek for your weekly dose of meaning. And if you want to learn more about Blue Lotus, Amanita, or any of the other natural tools we explore, join our WhatsApp group. The link is in the description. This was your host, Tatiana Voloshin. Thanks for listening and enjoy the rest of your summer.